All right, this is kind of a weird one, but this is going back to what we talk about society today. A biologist gets censored for saying men are stronger than women. That's where we are today. Where we are today. And I had a little graphic, and I lost it. I changed computers again because I'm always juggling computers because I can't seem to get one that works for me the way I want it to. But I had a graphic where there was a male runner, and he came in like 200 and something place in national rankings. And then he came in 300 and something in male rankings. Then he took a year off and transitioned into a woman. And the next year after that, he was ranked number 1 in the nation for that race or whatever it was. And you'll have to look it up. This is just hypothetical at this point because I don't have the graphic. But the whole point is we know this. Like a 40-year-old weightlifter that makes it to the Olympics competing as a woman. He didn't do very well, but now social media is stopping people from even just stating basic biological facts that men are stronger than women. This is insane. This is why ultimately I think we're going to get divided into two societies. Those that are based around one that's based on logic and rationale and reasoning and morality and maybe religion and maybe, but a societal norm. And the other side that's like feelings are more important than facts and you have to be all inclusive. And like, I can't see us staying in one society anymore. This is from Breitbart News. Instagram censors biologists for posting evidence showing biological men are stronger than women.
This time we are sure she's a woman, right?
So they have a picture here of the Olympic transitioned weightlifter. Facebook-owned Instagram censored evolutionary biologist Colin Wright earlier this week after he posted a study from a major medical journal showing male to female transitioned people, aka biological men, have a natural advantage over biological women in multiple sports. The Masters of the Universe reportedly, that's kind of weird, the Masters of the Universe reportedly consider the post to be hate speech. Oh, okay. So they're saying the Masters of the Universe, in other words, social media, reportedly consider the post to be hate speech. Colin Wright, who has been published in the Wall Street Journal and who is in academia for 12 years, posted a chart from the study conducted by researchers at University of Manchester and Karolinska University Hospital in Stockholm, showing that biological males have a performance advantage over biological females across many Olympic contested sports. Now, which one of those Olympics contested sports do they have the advantage? Mostly where strength and speed and athleticism are involved. So shooting a bow? Not really. Running really fast or lifting heavy things? Yeah. And remember, this is a study done by universities. It's not wasn't an opinion piece. This is him just reporting, hey, here's a study, check this out. Science. And they say, no, you can't talk about that. Bad. Similar scientific conclusions were reached in a study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine called How Does Hormone Transition and Transitioning Women Change Body Composition, Muscle Strength, and Hemoglobin? Systematic review with a focus on the implication for sports participation, conducted by researchers at Loughborough University and Karolinska Institute in Stockholm. They each concluded that even after 3 years of therapy, transitioned women on average still retain strength advantages over biological women, which may not allow for even playing field in sports competitions. Now, here's the thing. He's not coming out and saying anything about his personal opinions about anything. This is what he posted. Instagram took down one of the posts, etc. His posts basically was, let's see if they have the graphic still up. Okay, they just jumped me to his Twitter feed. It's basically a graph showing the study and showing the results of the study. That's it. That's all he posted. And then they posted our guidelines on hate speech and symbols of hate and all this other stuff. So from the crew of Follow the Science, when a guy says, hey, here's an interesting study, here's some science for you. No, you can't talk about that. Why? Because it doesn't fit our narrative. Because some people might get offended by this. Yeah, but it's science. Don't care. Some people might get offended by the science. Well, which science can we talk about? The science that doesn't offend people. How does this make sense? How do we stay as a cohesive society when this is the direction that we're going with this stuff? It doesn't make sense. It says in a post on Twitter, Wright revealed that Instagram took down his post for violating its rules against harmful speech. The post that Facebook-owned platform deemed to be harmful consisted of an image from one of the studies showing the advantage for biological males across a range of sports. That was it. He just posted a picture of it, one of the graphs, and said, hey, here you go. And Instagram, Facebook take that down. Now, a lot of people have said to me, I'm still on Facebook. I'm still on Twitter. I'm still on YouTube. I'm going to participate in all these things, even though they censor. But my argument is, well, it kind of still comes back and it supports them via advertising. And then I came out and said, I'm going to get off YouTube because I want to do my own thing and I don't want YouTube to make money off of my channel. And then a lot of you guys came back and said, I can't do locals, or it doesn't work for me, or it uses too much data, or I don't like the format. I'm kind of forced to use YouTube. Please come back to YouTube. And there's this weird thing that's happening in society where it's like a lot of people say, I do not, and myself included, I do not want to participate. I do not want to support businesses that are doing to people that are posting on there. But in the same token, they have such a monopoly over everything that they're about the only place a lot of people can come to get the information. It is a really bad place to be. And until they reform some of this stuff, a lot of us are not happy with some of the choices we have to make. But the important takeaway from this is that they say follow the science. And when I say they, I mean the government and the media and the news corporations and everybody says follow the science until the science doesn't support what they want it to say. And then they say, well, you can't talk about it. Or if the science is contradictory to what they say, well, you can't talk about it. Follow the science, but only the science that we show you. Only the science that we deem it's okay to talk about. Only the science that agrees with our way of thinking. And as long as this continues, I don't, because the same thing is, I keep breaking myself off in the sentence, but as long as this continues, I don't see how we maintain a cohesive, unified society. I just don't. That there was there was another post that I had that I was going to talk about, but it was kind of like, hey, if you don't agree with us, we're going to shut you up. And that way, what's a good way I can put this? If 100 people say, we believe this way, and 20 people say, we believe this other way, well, that's only, 86% of people feel a certain way. But if they shut up the 20 people, they can say 100% of people agree with us. And when you do that, so when women came up and say, hey, the wage gap, look at the wage gap, stories about the wage gap. And eventually there's enough reports out that say, hey, the wage gap thing was only like all men versus all women. It didn't show part-time work, full-time work, overtime work, men working night shifts, men work. That's why men make more. They worked more hours. They worked more overtime. They were more aggressive. And so when you really boil it down, it's 3%. It's not 30%. They say, yeah, but what about patriarchy and CEOs? And CEOs run more companies than women. Well, women don't want to put in the hours and women don't do this. And a lot of women leave the job yeah, but what about, 50% of household harm being, or the vast majority of household harms being perpetrated by men? Well, actually, studies have shown it's closer to 45-55 with men just a little bit. After a long enough, do you know what they boil down to? Yeah, but shut up. When they run out of statistics, when they run out of stories, when they run out of ways, the media and government and everybody else, when they run out of ways to shut you up with science, eventually when the science proves your point, they just say, oh yeah, but shut up. It's mean speech. You can't say it. Yeah, but it's science. Don't care. I think this is just another example of why we're having such a hard time in society, because there are a lot of people that say, yeah, but real science, not some shadowy whatever science says, okay, let's look at the reports. Well, here's 3. What about the other 400? Can't look at those. See, when we start doing this stuff, this is where society starts falling apart. And when they start attacking men and saying men are bad, men do this, and we stand up with science that proves that we aren't, that it doesn't happen, on this unrealistic scale that feminists have brought forward, well, they say, well, but shut up. They can no longer say science. They just tell you to shut up. So guys, keep that in mind. As you see stories, as you are told certain things, understand there is an agenda, and the real science, the real data, the real things that you get to hear are often secondary to the agenda. Keep that in mind as you see things coming out.